Hello DHMS teachers. Today's video here is going to be another one of the items that we're going to ask, or that we've been asked to do as teachers here at Dakota Hills Middle School, and it involves assignments. And so this video is going to really show us how to create assignments and include relevant information in that assignment so that it can be really useful to students and hopefully make it much more efficient for us as well as teachers. So go ahead and if you're doing this, go ahead and head into your classes, whichever class that is, and as usual, as you've learned in some of the previous videos, one of our must-haves or must-dos that we're being asked to do as teachers is to organize our folders in a uniform way with a current week and then a bunch of different weeks. And so when you create your assignments, you're going to go into whatever your week is or whatever day you're creating that assignment. I've created a day for May 23rd, which is just a practice day. And so within that folder, you may have instructions, you may have whatever you have. I have a folder called Fundamentals of Weather, and I have a few videos in the simulation, but I also am going to have an assignment that is due with this activity. And so here's what we're asking you to do when you create your assignments. Go ahead and go to Add Materials, or however you create an assignment, and you can add an assignment. And within your assignment, here's a couple of things that we'd like to see happen. In the name, have something that is relevant and descriptive to the assignment so that they know it is your class. Like this is just going to be Do Fundamentals of Weather worksheet. You may have, some people may want to write a little abbreviation for your class, like Science Fundamentals of Weather worksheet. That's totally up to you, but that could be helpful as well. But have a title that has something that is relevant to this assignment and gives kids a hint of the fact that it's your class. And the next thing we'd like to see teachers do within this assignment is include some information either in the description here. I'm just going to write gibberish, but include some information in the description about what this assignment is and how kids and parents can complete it. And even better is if you can also add any linked files that actually may be the assignment. And here are some ways that you can do that. So right at the bottom you've got a number of choices. One of the choices is just choosing a file. I use this a lot because I use PDFs and Notability a lot. So you may choose a file. We'll say the file that I'm going to be assigning with this is the Water Cycles Gizmos worksheet. You could choose a file, put that in, and that will be there for the students. Some of you may instead link to Google Docs or something like that. And so if that's the case, then what you would do is go ahead and get your Google Doc link that you normally share, and you could add that link right there and then call it whatever you want. Obviously my link is just the YouTube instructions link that I just put together, but yours would be your Google Doc link. That's another way that you could attach something for students and parents to be able to access. And for those of you that use the Google Drive Assignments app, that's also a good thing to use to give parents and students information. And so there's other things. You can add things from your resources if you have them in your Schoology resources already. You could add a video or audio recording, which is just a video or audio recording of yourself giving instructions for this assignment. What we're asking is that you somehow include descriptive language, descriptions of what this assignment is. Let's say it's in your math book and you say complete pages 2 and 3 problems 22 to 44 in your math book. Something so that when students click on your assignment, they could actually find for themselves the information that they need to get. And then another thing that we would like for you to do that would make this easier is to indeed add a due date as to when this assignment is due. Okay, so if I add the due date of the 24th. You can change the time, or whatever time you would like. If you'll add a due date, the reason that we do that is that this will populate directly onto their calendar. Another thing that a lot of teachers like to do is they like to have assignments go right into their Schoology gradebook. And in order for that to happen, it has to have a category. Okay? And so adding these two things, a due date and a category, allows these assignments to be accessible for students to see in their gradebook as well as on the calendar, and I want to show you that right now. And so if you look at this student's iPad right now under today, which is the 24th, you'll see that nothing is there. There are no assignments, but as soon as I give this assignment a date and hit create, this assignment is going to automatically populate onto that student's calendar. And so I'm going to try to show you that by creating it and refreshing that student's calendar. So here we go. And so if we'll look, the assignment isn't there as normal, and I'm going to just go up and hit refresh. And now you'll see that for today, the assignment that we just created has automatically populated into that student's calendar. And so you can see a lot of teachers are doing that already for students. And so it's going to be a useful tool next year for students if we do this in this way, because it will populate into their calendar for them. So that automatically populated it into their calendar because we gave that assignment a date. When we gave that assignment a calendar, it's also going to automatically populate into our gradebook and their gradebook. I don't want this to be worth 100. I'm going to make it worth 4. And so let's take a look at how that can be beneficial. And so as a student goes to their gradebook using the web-based grading on Schoology, which we are going and have been really trying to coach them to do, because you've created this assignment and given it a category, a student can simply click right on this assignment, and because you added some relevant information, just by looking at what they clicked, they can see, oh, we are supposed to complete pages 2 to 3 in our math book, or here's the actual assignment, and a student can just click on that and get it themselves and work on it themselves. Or sometimes they'll click on it and realize, oh, I already have that done in my Notability, or I already have that completed and it's just sitting in my Google Drive. I just need to submit it. And so it does indeed become really helpful for students, parents, and becomes really efficient for us as teachers, because sometimes students can just get all of this information right from Schoology, and instead of taking the time to call us or email us or come up and see us, they can get it efficiently right there and realize, oh, I do know what I'm supposed to do. And within this assignment that the student is able to click on right from their gradebook, you'll notice they can also go right up, the folder is available for them, and they can go right up to that folder and click on that and get access to any other ancillary helpful resources that you may have assigned for them. So that's why it's really helpful to go ahead and give that a category as well as a due date. And I know there is one other item that teachers sometimes have concern with, and that is if they are not submitting something digitally and they're having students turn it in on paper, but don't have the time to grade everything the day it is due. Well, sometimes they don't want parents getting emails that says something was submitted late. So if that is the case and you are not submitting digitally and instead on paper, and you're concerned about having Schoology email parents that something didn't get submitted, what you can do in that situation is you can simply disable submissions. And that means students aren't supposed to submit something digitally. Instead, they need to hand you something physically, like a worksheet or something on a paper version. And that will not generate automatic emails to parents if students turn something in late. or if you don't get it graded right away. So that's an option as well. If you do submit digitally, which is really helpful and really efficient for teachers who do, well then you will want to have this submissions enabled so that students can submit a Notability file or a Google Doc or whatever you're doing digitally. And what that will do then is if a student hasn't submitted something by this date, it will let the parents know something hasn't been submitted. And if they have submitted it, well then the parents won't get that email and you'll just be able to grade it at your leisure as you normally do. So in summary, as we are creating our days within our week folder, as we are creating our days, if we have assignments that are indeed going to be due, what Dakota Hills teachers are being asked to do is to create an assignment within whatever that folder is by going to materials and add an assignment. And within that assignment, I'm going to just edit this one that we've created. Within that assignment, we'd like these things. A title that somehow has some relevance to it. Maybe it doesn't have to be this long, but somehow has some relevance to your class. Information, whether it be in descriptions or in linked files, information that will allow the students to know exactly what they're supposed to do on that assignment. And we're being asked to give it a category so that it goes into the gradebook and a due date so that it goes into the calendar. And then teachers can decide whether to enable submissions for digital assignments, which you would certainly do, or if you're doing an assignment that is not digital and totally physically submitted, you have the right to disable submissions. And that's it. And so doing this will save students, parents, and teachers a lot of time and sometimes headaches, because a student can either look at their gradebook or their calendar. In this case right here, we're looking at the gradebook, and if they're missing anything, they'll be able to click right on that assignment, and within that assignment get descriptive information, files, other resources, and oftentimes be able to just complete that assignment on their own accord without having to take time to email or run up and chat with teachers, because Schoology will give them the information that they need. Thank you for your time with this video, and we're all here to help.